All right guys, today we got the top 5 least expensive vehicles that we work on, ranked by average repair order. Let's get into it. If you watched our last video on the top 5 most expensive, then you know how we came up with this list. But let me just go over it real quick. We took all the data from the last 2 years of the vehicles that we worked on, how many vehicles we worked on out of each car line, and divided that into how much money was spent on those vehicles. And we took the car lines that would be associated with each other. For instance, Nissan Infiniti, Honda Acura, Toyota Lexus. If the average repair order was really close, then we put them in one car line. If they were far apart, then we separated them. There was none that were far apart on this one. At the end of the video, I am going to give you 2 notables that didn't make the list. They're kind of surprising, one of them anyway. And I'm going to give you my reactions to the list. So hang around to the end to find out about those. Number 5. Nissan Infiniti. So, although this is kind of maybe this isn't the perfect example of it because this has got a lot of aftermarket stuff and everything on it, but Nissan Infiniti kind of surprised me. They do have some issues with transmissions and stuff, but let me give you the numbers real quick. So we worked on 273 of these cars over the last 2 years, and the average repair order is $866.68. So these have been decent vehicles for people, and I'll tell you, what I've always said with Nissan and Infiniti, well, mainly Nissan, is they're good vehicles. They just tend to be a little more difficult to work on. So and people always say, well, why does that matter? Well, time is money, and if they're a little more difficult, usually it takes a little more time and ends up costing a little bit more. But they did beat out a competitor, but there were quite a bit of difference in the amount of vehicles that we worked on between these 2 competitors. That's in the notables at the end, so you definitely got to stick around for that. The one thing that kind of stands out on Nissan Infiniti is the transmissions. The CVTs are big problems depending on the years, and then even the Infinitis, some of their regular transmissions have got valve body issues and things like the vehicle speed sensor issues, which are in the valve body, so that does add to the cost. But really, other than that, although we have a couple of them that have some electrical issues that are a little bit strange, and I have 2 of them right now that have a very similar problem, but hopefully that doesn't become prevalent in the car line, because those are becoming an issue right now for me anyway. So, but other than that, number 4, Subaru. So these have been really good cars. These are way more prevalent in the Northeast and the Northwest than they are here, but we have worked on 134 of them over the last 2 years, and the average repair order on these is $824.89. The only thing we really see, there are some issues with these cars. Wheel hubs, for us, what we see, wheel hubs, transmissions can be a problem. The wheel hubs are very prevalent on these. The transmissions are somewhat, I know that a lot of other people have got, engine head gasket issues and things like that. We haven't seen a ton of them, but overall for us, the people who own these vehicles absolutely love them. And even though we don't see as many of them as maybe a lot of places, if you're up north and you're in one of those 2 things where, 2 places where there's a lot of Subarus, love to see your comments down there. What do you guys run into? But for us, they're really, really good cars. So, I would say this is definitely a vehicle that I wouldn't mind, if I was looking for something just reliable, wouldn't be a bad vehicle to own. Number 3, Honda Acura. So these vehicles, we worked on 525 of them over the last 2 years. And the average repair order is $715.49. So quite a bit cheaper than the Subarus, and we've worked on a lot more of them. So a much bigger, sample size. What do we see on these? Well, or what makes them be less expensive? We do see some transmission issues, but they tend to be fixable with just servicing the transmission. They're much easier to work on. I mean, things tend to be easier to access and get to than other vehicles. I mean, if you compare this to a Subaru, the spark plugs on this are super, super easy compared to the Subaru, which are not super, super easy. They tend not to have, big electrical issues and things like that. I mean, there's not really a whole lot bad to say about a Honda Acura, other than there were some years back between, I think, 2008, 13, 14, where they did have some engine issues with their V6s. So that's a little bit of a blemish, or a big blemish, I guess. But overall, these are just a fantastic vehicle. I mean, I've owned an Acura or a Honda for many, many years of my life, and I would definitely say I highly recommend them even to this day. So great car, everybody knows that. All right, real quick, before we get to number 2, I want you to pause the video, jump down the comments, and take a guess at what you think number 2 is. I doubt very many people are gonna get this. I would never have gotten it. So let's go on over here. I know you've paused it, now you're back. It is Kia Hyundai. Now, there's a caveat to this. Let me give you the numbers first. So we worked on 312 of these over the last 2 years, and the average repair order is $702.21. So what's that, about, $12, $13 cheaper than the Honda. Here's the caveat to these. And I know there's tons of people that love their Kia and Hyundai. I get it. I see the comments. Trust me, and all the other channels when we talk about Kia Hyundai, we see the comments. I've had them for so long and they've been great. I get you. We see a lot of problems, major problems with these, with the engines. That's the biggest thing about these cars. A lot of them are covered under warranty. So we see them, they need an engine, they end up going back to Hyundai for a free engine or Kia for a free engine. Okay, well, that's gonna make this repair order number come way down, because a lot of those, we're not even charging them to tell them it's got a bad engine. We're just like, hey, this thing's under warranty. We could tell you right away it was bad. Go back to Hyundai, Kia, they'll take care of you. So that's gonna bring that average repair order way down. The other thing that we see is a lot of times these things need engines, they're out of warranty, and the car is just not worth putting an engine in. So again, we might have a diag fee to do that, but at the end of the day, the people don't fix the car, totally get it, it's not worth it. And so the car goes away with basically just paying for a diag. So there's not a lot, we see a lot of declined repairs on these vehicles just simply because they're not worth fixing, and that's gonna bring this number way, way down. So that's a little bit skewed, but hey, we wanted to show you guys the numbers, we wanna tell you guys the numbers, the way they are, and that's just is what it is. Number 1, it's Mazda. Mazda is the least expensive vehicle that we work on. Now, again, these are great cars. This particular vehicle is actually my wife's car. So she absolutely loves it, and we've done very little to this car. So the number of them that we've worked on, again, is pretty low. It's 85. They're not like a huge mainstream car where we're at, but 85 cars over the last 2 years. The average repair order is incredibly low. It's $457.46. So, I mean, we're talking, almost half of what a Nissan is. What do we see with these cars? Not a whole lot. I mean, we basically just do maintenance on them, and that's really about it. Just maintenance work. We don't see any common, at least in here, we don't see any common issues that break. Yeah, maybe a window regulator here or there, but they're just overall pretty good vehicles. My only problem, and I give my wife a hard time about this one because she would love to take this car on trips. I just don't. I think they're uncomfortable to drive. I just think the seats are uncomfortable. But for me, it's like, my wife loves it, and for me, having a seat be uncomfortable to me makes it a no deal, because if you're getting in the car and you're going on a trip, you want it to be comfortable. But as far as reliability goes, hard to beat. Honestly, I mean, they're really good cars. They're right up there with reliability to me with Toyota and Honda, and obviously they're less expensive to fix. The first notable, so this would be number 6 on the list, is Mini. Now I'm going to give you the caveat, the same caveat on this one that I gave to you on the Kia Hyundai, but let me give you the numbers first. 60 of these cars over the last 2 years, and the average repair order is $868.79. So in our most expensive vehicle one, you need to go watch that one, but this is one that we did separate out from BMW because, clearly pretty same car line basically, but this repair order was considerably different than the BMW one was. But again, a lot of these vehicles, we get them in here, they're not worth fixing. They need major work, major engine work, things like that, and so people just don't fix them. So now, the last notable, the number 7 on the list, and I own 2 of these. There's my Tundra, which is a bulletproof vehicle, and there's my Lexus. So this really surprised, and you've got a couple of them, so this is surprising to me. But let me give you, now this is the car line that we work on more than any other car line. We've worked on 715 of them over the last 2 years, and that's just, these are very popular cars, obviously. And the average repair order is $873.30. So about that's about $7 more than Nissan, and you know, 150 bucks almost more than, actually 160 bucks more than Honda Acura. These are great cars. I mean, we don't see any common issues with them. Here's one thing I will tell you. The vehicles that we work on with these, and this is probably why the number is what it is, and it would be the exact opposite problem of the Mini and the Kia Hyundai, is we get these cars that have a lot of miles on them and they're really old. So, you know, we get vehicles in here that I say really old. You know, they're down in the early 2000s and they've got 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 miles on them, and people are still maintaining them. So then you start looking at putting shocks and struts and, you know, a lot of maintenance work over time. The timing belt's obviously getting replaced maybe for second, third. We might do 2 or 3 of those in the life of the vehicle, more than that. So these vehicles, I think, have the opposite problem with the Kia Hyundai in that they last for so long that their maintenance is going to be, you know, our repair order is going to be a little higher because we're doing repair orders that have, you know, a few $1,000s on them, just simply because it's a 300,000 mile vehicle, and most other car lines with 300,000 miles on them, we're not doing a few $1,000s on a repair order generally. And Toyota, Lexus are still worth putting that money into. So I think that's probably skewed that number just a little bit. The only way we could actually break all that stuff out and see, you know, the years and all that stuff, we'd have to get deep dive into the numbers and go, you know, these are the years and these are the amount of dollars that we spent and all this stuff. And we're just trying to give you guys just a little quick list of just what, you know, what the costs were for us. So, but I do think it plays a factor. All right, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, definitely hit that thumbs up. Let us know you liked the video, and leave us a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the list. Were you surprised by some of them? Because we were. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one.